Hey doing YouTube, it's Will from Will Development, and this is my 354th weekly update. Finally got a haircut and trimmed up a little bit on the beard there. So, today was the Record Breakers event, both nationals and for a state record in the yoke. Training this week was super easy, super chill, just kind of, wouldn't even call it mobility work. Did some squatting earlier in the week, just like a deload kind of week sort of thing. Touched a little bit of pressing, went maybe 80% of comp. Out of the rack, didn't even practice the clean. I've sort of reserved or come to terms with the fact that probably won't be able to get the press on the axle tomorrow, and that's totally fine. I knew that kind of going in, that this would be a challenge for me, so or that would be one of those things I have to go over. I do want to preface the yoke. I didn't realize that there wasn't a state record when they first talked about doing that event for the record breaker, and that this would be like an establishing record. And I hadn't planned on doing it at all. I was just wanting to do the farmers one, and that was it. And then when I found out the yoke wasn't even set, I was like, oh, well, hell, I could just set it whatever I wanted. They said, well, we're doing the 181s, so I'm doing the 181s. A super respectable weight would be something like 700. That would be a respectable weight. I haven't touched yoke for real since like April. So it's been a good 2 months. Now in April when I did yoke, I did a 700 something for like 30 feet. And it wasn't, it wasn't awful. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't that great either. But I did it, you know what I mean? So that was like the plan for that, but the one thing I wanted to do was get that farmer's hold record, and I did it. And I didn't just do it, I destroyed the old record. So for the 181 class, the record was 220 per hand, pick and hold, and the old record was 1:08. And I did 1:25. So, what, 17 seconds longer? Something like that, yeah. Longer than what the old record was, which is a significant portion of time longer. That first 40 seconds went by pretty quick, and then it's that last 30-ish seconds that those take forever. But right when he hit a minute, I was like, oh, I've got this. And then when he said 110, you can see in the video I looked up and just smiled and was just so happy because I knew I'd gotten it at that point, right at 1:10. But I said, man, you need to show you deserve this. And so I just kept holding on, and I've only dropped farmers, I think, once in my entire, if you want to call it a career, but my career as a strongman. Just due to my hands losing it. And this is the second time I've ever done it, where I just went absolutely all out, left everything I had, to the point where my hands just would not hold anymore. And 1:25 is what I was able to do. I was shooting for 1:30, so I wasn't that far off. Definitely a PR. The best I had done in training with that event was like 1:15. Now, granted, I had more in me when I just called it like 1:15, but I didn't know exactly how much more I had in me. I could just tell. I was like, hey, 1:15 is plenty for the record. Just let's not do anything stupid and really tax the grip. Let's just go day of and make this happen. And I just did the same warm-up I did that day that I hit it in the gym, where I did essentially half of comp weight, about 100 pounds under comp weight, held that for a minute and a half, and then just went out there and was like, let's just do it, let's go. And man, I was just like, it's an awesome feeling. For 27 years, so old I am, I have never won anything, ever. And there's things I've worked really hard for, to get and to earn, and just did not get them. And then especially in strongman, you know, to just place at a show would mean so much to me, and I just haven't earned that yet. And that's something it's I mean, if I'm being honest, it's hard to deal with that sometimes. To say, damn, do I just keep going and keep trying and keep trying, even though I failed so many times? And so when this came up, I said there's no way in hell that, as much as I talk about what a great grip I have and blah blah blah, that I am going to miss an opportunity to prove that I have a good grip, that I have a great grip, you know. And 27 years of losing, whether it was coming dead last in a show I had no business being dead last in, and I've done that a couple times. Shouldn't have come last, but I did, and it's my own fault. I'm not saying like, oh, I got screwed or anything. It was completely on me. But you know, you work hard, and then to fail and fail and fail and fail, to finally work hard and have the fruits of my labor prove that I'm the best at something. And not just the best in my area, but the best in the country at something. This was a nationals record, for USS, mind you. But to beat the record by that much, too, really felt great, because it was just like, you know, if I had just gotten 110 and said, I'm done, you know, I got the record, yada yada, people could say, oh, well, you know, blah blah blah, but it's like, no, I said it, I made a new standard for the next guys who want to break this. It's not going to be just, oh, you know, we'll get to a minute 26 or whatever. It's like, you better beat me by a bunch, or else I won't care. Like, oh, well, you win, a second win is a second win. That's cool, bro, but you know in your heart of hearts that you need to beat me, in order for me to kind of let it go. That's how I feel about things, and that's why when I wanted to beat this record, I wanted it to be by a margin that was to the point where there was no question. You know, if I had gotten 110, somebody'd say, oh, maybe they started the time early or something like that, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, there's 17 extra seconds of time. And let's say you took away 1 or 2 of those seconds, there's still 15 whole seconds, a quarter of a minute longer than the previous record. And just to do it, you know, I don't normally say you should, but you should probably subscribe, because when I put up the footage from it, probably next week sometime, I can't do it tonight, I'm too tired tonight, but when I put up the footage of it, you can just tell how much it means to me, because it meant a lot to me, and it does mean a lot to me. And it's the first time I've ever won anything. And the first win wasn't just a win for a local show, it was a national win. I beat people from across the nation at this event. And it's a timed event, it's a timed hold, so it's not just being strong, there's a grit aspect of it too, where it's just like, at one point everything hurts, everything's shaking, your hands feel like they're going to just rip off, and you just kind of have to sit there and just keep going. And that's what I did, and that's it was enough. For once, what I had to give was more than enough to win. And that meant a lot to me. That means a lot to me, and I'm so thankful that I was able to do it. I was healthy enough to do it, and really a little bit beat up for tomorrow. after the yoke record too. So the state record, I wanted to do 7, and I opened with 5. I think it was 520, and it was okay. It didn't kill me, but I was like, ooh, I have not been under a yoke in a while. This is rough. So I said, let me just go for an even 6, and we'll just call it a day. So did 600. That was close. Realized halfway through, like, hey, you don't have knee sleeves on or anything. You're just wearing a belt. I'm like, well, let's see what happens, And I did manage to get it. Now, what's funny about the yoke record is their rule was front of the yoke just has to cross the line and that's it. And this is one of those like, well, the way I was raised is the whole implement has to cross the line. And so both attempts I crossed the entire line with the entire object because that's just how I was raised in strongman. And, I still did it. I don't expect that record to last very long, if and whenever they have another record-breaking event for the yoke. The farmers, I don't know how long that's going to last. I hope it lasts for a little bit. It would be nice if it would last a little bit. It would be nice if it would last long enough for me to just break it again. That would be cool. Now, if I go in to break my own record with that weight and everything, the plan would be to just get to like a minute 30, basically. Just not beat it by a whole bunch. Just enough to beat my own record, if I do it. But I'm hoping that record holds for a little bit. That's what I'm hoping for, because it feels good. National record holder is going in my bios. I don't care how tacky it is. It's 100% going in. I proved, I proved that all my talk about my grip being good is not just talk. It's real. My grip is good. And now I have proof of that. And I'm super tired. I have nothing else to say. Hopefully tomorrow goes well. I don't get injured. That's all I'm hoping for tomorrow. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself to perform amazingly tomorrow. Today was the important day for me. This was my day. I was the only one who was able to set any national records today. There were a couple other attempts, but nobody else was able to complete their attempts. So it was nice for a day to be about me for a good reason. I've had days that were about me for things like my birthday, or even more somber things like my heart, the surgeries and stuff. And birthday, it's like, whatever, I didn't choose this, And the heart, that's, a lot of it's a pity party, and I hate that. And so it was like, we were in the rules meeting tonight for tomorrow's show, and when I'm surrounded by 40-something competitors and their families are there, and most of them didn't even watch it, but when Donnie was able to say, he's the state chair and the guy who put on the event, when he said, and we had our national record breakers, and Will was able to become the new national record holder for the farmer's handle, and just have a room of my peers turn around, look at me, and all clap for me, that felt really good, A lot of times when I'm getting claps at comps, it feels like pity, because I'm out there trying and I'm failing. And that shit gets old quick. And that's probably not the right attitude to have, but it's how I feel. I don't want pity. I don't mind reverence when I've actually earned it. And I fucking earned it today. And I worked hard and it feels good. So never give up. That's the fucking story. Never give up. Don't quit. Your chance will come, and when it shows up, you better be ready. And I was ready today, and I proved something. And you can't be afraid to prove something. And if you are, then what's your excuse?